Well, hello and welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about seasonal affective disorder, but not in the sense of what it is, because I think everybody knows what it is. It's a disorder that sort of makes you feel like depression makes you feel, but only during the sort of winter months. But the reason why I want to talk about it is because I feel like it's something a lot of us have in common. Even if you don't already suffer from depression and then get extra depressed when the grey skies and the shorter days set in, even if you don't actually suffer from seasonal affective disorder as a disorder, you might find yourself, and I think a lot of people find themselves feeling just generally more sluggish and low and gross in the winter months. It happens. It's a particularly miserable time of year, let's face it. And I wanted to talk about a few things that have helped me. I mean, they helped me when I went into winter with depression and then got seasonal affective disorder on top of that. And it helps me now that I am not having depression and not having seasonal affective disorder as much. And those are three things that I do. They are logical, and I probably shouldn't even be mentioning them on here because I don't want to insult your intelligence. But I feel like sometimes if someone talks in a down-to-earth way about the things that they do, very, very simple things that help them, and if that's a person that struggles just as much as everybody else in being virtuous and doing the things that help themselves, that sometimes it helps other people start to struggle a bit harder to be sort of virtuous when they know they should be, because we all have that rebellious streak in us. We know what's good for us and we still don't do it. So I feel like if I'm just out here being human and saying this stuff helps me, I don't always do it, but when I do it, it really helps, then maybe that will help someone else to think like, yeah, that stuff actually helps me as well, and I'm going to try a little bit harder. So balance it up. I feel like it's worthwhile saying it. I want to start off with saying if you do suffer quite severely from depression and seasonal affective disorder and medication helps you, carry on. I'm not going to argue with anyone being on medication for anything. It doesn't work for me, but those who it works for, and that is not an argument I'm going to have. If that's what you need to do to help you, you do it. I would say that if you are on long-term medication, and I know that some people that's their only solution is long-term medication, then perhaps you should be taking something for your kidneys alongside that. You don't need to do detoxification diets. If you're eating crap and you want to get rid of it, stop eating it and your body will detoxify itself. You know, it's pretty much a given. But if you are taking long-term medication, then the implications for your kidneys can be quite severe. So I would suggest taking something like milk thistle, or talking to your doctor about taking something that will aid your kidneys in the long term. So yeah, just a little aside to say that. Now, on to the three things that I do. And I'm going to start with diet. Now, you know, if you watch me, how I feel about diet. Balanced diet is important. Getting rid of refined sugar is desperately important, because refined sugar is just evil. And freezer foods, all those crappy things with salt and sugar, those are super bad for you and you shouldn't really be eating them. Doesn't mean to say you can never eat them. Occasionally eating them is not going to hurt you. Occasionally saying, oh fuck it, I'm going to have an oven dinner tonight. Whatevs, do it. If you're not doing it every night, it's not a big deal. And that is my whole sort of philosophy around food. If you're feeling like you need to eat big old plate of carby goodness, go for it, because this time of year especially, and I am talking about this around seasonal affective disorder, and about feeling crappy at this time of year, we burn through fuel in the cold much faster than we do in the heat, naturally. So if your body is saying, oh my god, I need carbs, listen to it. It's as simple as that. There are so many different types of carbs, and there are so many different ways in which carbs can work if you mix them with other things, that I feel like it's possible to handle your carbs as delicately as a balancing act. You really can, if you're not lazy. I'm lazy, so I tend to just do the big old plate every single time and then just carb aside straight after. But I try and balance it by not overdoing it. In a day where I feel like I need to have some carbs, I don't overdo it at breakfast and lunch. I knock it out in the big evening meal, you know? So it's just letting yourself have the things that your body is telling you it needs. Your body is your barometer. It tells you how it's feeling, and you have to listen to it. And if you don't listen to it, then you are in severe danger of making it super pissed off with you. And it will stop cooperating. Listen to your body, feed it what it needs, and stop worrying so much. The second thing that I pay attention to at this time of year specifically is sleep. I am very bad for getting sleep when I need it. I am a night owl, but it doesn't do me any good, especially not when I have school runs and things that I need to do and I have to get up early in the morning. Not good. So What I try and do is this. If I need to take a nap, I do it. And yeah, I feel bad about it, and yeah, I feel gross afterwards, but it helps. And especially things like at the weekend, if you need to sleep in a bit at the weekend, plan yourself a lie-in, plan some relaxation time. If you don't like sleeping during the day, plan a little bit of lazing on your bed, reading a book. And if you're finding it difficult to get to sleep in the evenings, for God's sake, put the phone down. It's been proven that the light from phones and iPads and computers keeps your brain active and awake. And so if you are going to sleep and trying to get yourself sleepy by staring at your phone for hours on end, it's not going to work. So have a cut-off point for when you look at your phone. I'm saying this, and you just know for a fact that the minute I get in bed, I'm like, oh, what's happened? But I try, and that is the point. That is why I'm doing this. Because I try, and because I try at weekends to have days where I'm just like, no, I'm going to be in my PJs today and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. I am terrible, especially in the wake of long-term depression and my feelings around pyjamas, which you may have seen if you watch my Mental Health Monday videos. I struggle. I struggle to stay in pyjamas all day without feeling super guilty about it, but I do it. Yeah. And then of course you have the opposite to that, where you oversleep, and that is a toughie. I think the best thing to do at that point is to be a sensible adult, which is the most boring thing in the world, and go to bed earlier. Fortunately, I don't have oversleeping problems at the moment, but when I did, I would try to get to sleep before midnight, because I heard this thing that every hour before midnight is worth 2 hours. I just don't know whether that's even true, but I felt really sanctimonious about it if I went to sleep before 12 and got my extra hour of sleep that wasn't even an extra hour. But yeah, getting to sleep before midnight is a good plan if you're oversleeping and you need to get up early. Just try. Pull on the adult pants and try and do it. I know it's hard, and adult pants, they scratch and they chafe and they're boring. But sometimes you need to yank them on and just get on with it. So if you're oversleeping, get to bed before midnight. If you do not sleep enough, try and set times for yourself where you can just chill. Even if you don't want to have a nap, set chill times and set them in stone, because self-care time is so vital for your mental and physical well-being. That's it. Thirdly and finally is exercise. Don't we just love to talk about exercise? That horrendous thing that we all know we should be doing but is normally so bloody boring and repetitive and time consuming and exhausting that you just don't want to do it. I need to exercise, and I hate it because I'm having to do it at home and I'm having to do it under my own willpower, and oh boy, that is so hard. I don't want to go to a gym yet. I'm not ready to be exercising around other people. Neither financially nor emotionally am I ready to be throwing myself around other people. Not happening. So I've been doing exercise at home, and I've had to cut out a lot of the sort of weightlifting stuff because I was getting my form right. So don't worry about that. It's just that my joints have always been cruddy since having kids because of the hormones that loosen up your joints. Mine just got crabby about it, and they've been crabby ever since. And I always had crabby knees anyway. So sometimes you just need to just calm things down and get your body a bit stronger. And what I have been doing is yoga, and I have been trying to do it every single night, and oh boy, it works. I'm just, I'm not going to become one of those yoga obsessives, but it works. There's something about the meditative nature of yoga that just soothes your mind out. It takes the edges off. It helps you reconnect to yourself and everything around you. It helps me reconnect to reality when I'm feeling a little bit disassociated and disconnected from myself and from the world, which can happen when I'm stressed, and I'm stressed a lot, and there's lots of things coming up that I'm stressed out about and worried about, but I'm keeping myself grounded and centered and not allowing my head to go off on flights of fancy through all this yoga stuff, and it is working. So even if you don't like to do something like cardio or, whatever, bit of yoga. I mean, I don't really do any more than half an hour, and I do it almost every night. I am not a person possessed of willpower. On the one hand, I really am. On the other, I'm not, because I can give myself the best excuses on the planet to not do the things that I know are good for me. And then I don't do them. And then I wake up the next day and I'm like, what the hell are you like? And I'm like, I don't know. But if you, like me, feel like dealing with yourself is like dealing with a 3-year-old in the middle of a supermarket having a massive meltdown who's just dug their heels in beside the Haribo because they want a massive great big bag of it right the hell now. You know what I mean? then I would say to you that the only thing that you can do is gently cajole yourself off the floor and say Haribo next week, but only if you behave. Complete tangent, I'm sorry, but you know, I am difficult to deal with. I handle myself like that 3-year-old in the aisle because I know I don't listen to myself, and I know I don't do what I should, and I know that my willpower is utterly pathetic. It is. So I try hard and I keep pushing forward, and when I do the things that I know that help me, the benefits are extraordinary. When I don't, I feel miserable, and that's a fact. So those are the things that I do: my diet, my sleep patterns, and my exercise, and they help tremendously in this time of year. They have helped me tremendously in the bouts of seasonal affective disorder I've had this year, which have taken me completely by surprise, and hopefully they will help you. And now I have waffled on quite enough, and I will be ending it there. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.